Hey guys, what's up? My name is Bob and Fishy, and welcome to a quick Yu-Gi-Oh! Subterror deck profile. This is the deck I use at locals, and it's pretty fun, so I'm going to go ahead and deck profile it for you guys now. This is Subterrors with a small Zodiac engine. I'm not going to dwell too much on what the cards do. I'll just give you kind of a measure on if they're important or not. So let's go ahead and start. 3 copies of Subterror Fiendess, probably the most important monster. Second most important monster would be Subterror Nemesis Warrior at 2. He is searchable pretty easily, so you only need him at 2. 3 copies of Subterror Nemesis Archer. Pretty important combo piece early if you can get Zodiac Barrage, so she kind of opens up a lot of plays for you. 3 copies of Subterror Behemoth Umastrix. It's pretty much the best Subterror Behemoth. 1 copy of Subterror Behemoth Phosphor Glacier. Very easy to search, so you only need 1. And then 1 copy of Subterror Behemoth Stalagmo. I just wanted to have an extra target. Eventually I will be cutting this for Guru, assuming we get Guru. And I actually might cut it for a copy of Trap Trick. If I can pick up a couple of those, I'll add them to the deck. Like I said, I am running a Zodiac engine, so we are running 2 copies of Zodiac Thoroughblade and 1 copy of Whiptail. And they are just some targets for Zodiac Barrage, which you can use to pop Archer. Speaking of doing that little combo, one of the pieces that we go into with it is Glow Up Bulb. We're going to foolish that with Phosphor Glacier and use it to make a Nat Beast, so obviously we need 1. It does break occasionally, but it's still important, and the upside is good enough that it's worth it. Then 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Obviously hand traps are necessary in this format. And speaking of, 3 copies of Effect Veiler. You can run other hand traps. These are just the ones I like to use because I feel like they're generally pretty good against a lot of decks that I see at my locals. For spell cards, probably the most important card overall is the Hidden City. We're running 3 of it, as well as 2 Terraforming to search it. It is a very important card for the deck to run. Another important card for the deck to run is 3 copies of Zodiac Barrage, very handy. And the way we have the deck set up, we can actually resolve it multiple times and still have plays with it. So that's nice. Then 3 copies of Instant Fusion. Being able to summon Invoked Raijin is very powerful because he synergizes really well with the deck. So we want to make sure we can see that as frequently as possible. Then for other powerful one-of spells, Monster Reborn, Soul Charge, and 1-for-1. All very good in the deck. Fiendess being a notable target for 1-for-1. Then, as far as traps are concerned, generally speaking, traps aren't very good anymore unless they can either be activated from hand or are in engine. This is probably the most important engine trap card that could possibly go in the deck. It is Subterror Final Battle. We aren't running any of the other Subterror traps, I guess there's only one other one, but this one's good. It's got basically 5 effects. There is another trap card that will be coming out eventually, but it is not out yet at time of recording, so we are not running that because that would be illegal. Don't break the rules, kids. That's going to be it for the main deck. For the extra deck, we are running 1 copy of Mrs. Radiant. I don't generally make it too frequently, but I have had to in the past, and it's not bad. Then 2 copies of Invoked Raijin, and 1 copy of Carbonala Warrior as another instant fusion target. It's not particularly good, but occasionally it comes up, and you'd rather have it than not. There's enough space in the extra deck that it's okay. Then for kind of an interesting choice, I have 2 copies of Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon in the extra deck, and the reason for that is because I am siding a small Cyber Dragon engine, and the extra deck is kind of open enough that I could fit a couple of copies of that in without having to disrupt things too much. So then for the Xyz monsters, we are running 1 copy of Zodiac Hammer Kong, 1 Borbo, 1 Chakanine, and 2 Tiger Mortar. This allows us to effectively use our Zodiac Barrage multiple times, and that's pretty good. Then we are also running 1 copy of Tornado Dragon, and then a small Utopia engine for Utopia the Lightning, because it's a pretty good card. Now, obviously, it's not as good as it was when it came out, but it's still pretty handy occasionally. And then, last but not least, 1 copy of Naturia Beast. We don't need any other synchros. Generally speaking, we only get 1 use out of the Glow Up Bulb, so that's fine. Let me smush all these up. and we will go to the side deck. Now, keep in mind, obviously, side decks vary depending on local matchups and things, but this is a pretty good side deck for what I typically encounter. 2 copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, 3 copies of Cyber Dragon for routing extra links. There are a couple of different Cyburst players at my locals, and they can extra link turn 1, which is a little bit silly. Then 3 copies of Called by the Grave, just a really good card. Twin Twisters, there are a lot of traps in my local meta. 1 copy of Raigeki. Generally speaking, you don't want to main that because the deck wants to go first, and seeing Raigeki turn 1 just typically adds to brick hands, so you really only want to side that in when you're going second. Then 2 copies of Quaking Mirror Force. Obviously, this is a dead card against any sort of link-heavy decks, so we only side that. But in decks that we can, against decks that we can side it against, it can actually be pretty brutal. And then last but not least, 1 copy of Master of Oz, because he's shiny and I like him. I think that's going to be it for the deck profile, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you later. Bye.